What is Neoclassicism? Neoclassicism is an art movement inspired by ancient Greek and Rome. It focuses on order, balance, and simplicity. Neoclassic. Neoclassic consists of Greek word neos that means new, and the Latin word classicus which is similar to the meaning of English phrase first class. The Western movement in decorative and visual arts are called Neoclassicism. Neoclassical art pieces such as paintings, sculptures, and architecture generally portrayed the Roman history, which elevated the Roman heroes. The characteristics of neoclassical art pieces are portrayal of Roman history, formal composition, the use of diagonals to show the peak of an emotion or moment, local color, overall lighting, and classic geostructures. During Neoclassicism, neoclassical artists embraced the ideas of order and moderation in which artistic interpretations of classic Greek and Roman history were restored to realistic portrayals. Neoclassical painters during Neoclassicism gave great importance to the costumes, settings, and details of classical subject matter, without adding distracting details but with as much historical accuracy as possible.
Today, we will be exploring the world of neoclassical art, a style that emerged in the late 18th century and was heavily inspired by the classical art and architecture of ancient Greece and Rome. Let's dive into the key figures, artwork, and sculpture that defines this movement. First, let's take a look at some of the most famous neoclassical artists.
First, let's meet Jacques-Louis David, a towering figure in French neoclassicism born in 1748. David was not only an influential painter but also a key figure in the French Revolution. His works focus heavily on history, often portraying heroic and revolutionary moments with a great intensity. David's masterpiece, The Death of Marat, immortalizes the tragic moment when the revolutionary leader Jean-Paul Marat was assassinated. The painting presents Marat as a martyr of the revolution. His body is slumped in the bath, blood staining the pages of his writings. This powerful image embodies the ideal of sacrifice for the greater good. In another iconic painting, Napoleon Crossing the Alps, David idealizes the great leader's crossing of the Alps in 1800. The image exudes strength and determination, showing Napoleon not as a man but as a heroic figure, almost mythological in stature. This powerful image was part of David's support of Napoleon's rise to power, portraying him as a conquering hero larger than life. Another of David's renowned work is the Oath of the Horatii, depicting a scene from the Roman legend. Three brothers, the Horatii, take an oath to fight for the glory of Rome. Their father holds out their swords to them, and in this moment, we see the ideals of patriotism and sacrifice. The strong, stoic figures and the tension in the composition reflect David's mastery in conveying noble themes.
Gina Goes Dominic Angra, born in 1780. Angra was influenced by Italian Renaissance painters. His paintings were usually nudes, portrait, and mythological themes, regarded as one of the great exemplars of academic art and one of the finest old masters of his era. One of his artwork is the portrait of Napoleon on an imperial throne. The painting depicts Napoleon in his decadent coronation costume seated upon his golden entrusted throne, hand resting upon smooth ivory walls. During his reign, the painting was owned by the corps, the legislative, which was part of the French legislature. The painting was believed to be commissioned by Napoleon as King of Italy. Another of his artwork was the Apotheosis of Homer. The painting was state commissioned by King Charles to have him remembered in the building of works of Louvre. The painting depicts an image of Homer receiving all the brilliant men of Rome, Greece, and contemporary times.
The neoclassical period was one of the great ages of public sculpture. Artists looked to Roman style during the time of Alexander the Great for inspiration as well as to mimic their style.
Antonio Canova, born in 1757. Canova was a prolific Italian artist and sculptor, and he became famous for marble sculptures. One of his famous artwork was Psyche revived by Cupid Kiss, a marble sculpture by Italian artist Antonio Canova that depicts the moment Cupid awakens Psyche with a kiss. One of his artwork was Washington. This is a marble sculpture of Washington currently displayed at North Carolina Museum of History. Another famous sculptor was Bertel Thorvaldsen, born in 1789 from Denmark. Thorvaldsen was the first international acclaimed Danish artist. He executed sculptures of mythological and religious theme character. And one of his famous artwork was Christ, a marble sculpture image of the resurrected Christ currently located at the Thorvaldsen Museum. And the another one is the Lion of Lucerne, a sculpture of a dying lion in Lucerne, located at Switzerland, and commemorates the Swiss Guard who were massacred in 1792 during the French Revolution.
Neoclassical architecture, a style deeply rooted in the classical traditions of ancient Greece and Rome, and inspired by the architectural designs of Andrea Palladio, an iconic Italian architect. Let us explore the three major types of neoclassical architecture. First, we have the temple style. This type of neoclassical architecture is directly based on ancient temples. Its defining feature is its resemblance to classical temples of Greece and Rome. The second type is the Palladian style, which draws inspiration from the villa designs of Andrea Palladio. These structures often exhibit balance, symmetry, and harmony in their layout. Robert Adam, a prominent British architect, was known as a pioneer of Palladian neoclassical architecture. His designs include two iconic American civic buildings, the White House and the United States Capitol. The third type is classical black style, characterized by a rectangular or square plan, flat roofs, and exteriors adorned with classical details. Henry Labrouste, a renowned classical architect, created masterpieces like the Library of Saint Genevieve, a hallmark of classical block style.
Neoclassical architecture is known for its timeless beauty and elegance. Let us explore the most famous examples of temple style, Palladian style, and classical block style architecture. Let's start with the most famous temple style architecture. First one is the Pantheon in Paris was originally a church dedicated to Saint Genevieve. Today it serves as a burial site for notable figures. Second, the British Museum in London. It holds one of the largest collections of human history and culture, with over 8 million works. The third one is La Madeleine in Paris. It is a church designed like a classical temple built to honor Napoleon's army. Let's go on to the most famous Palladian style architecture. The White House in Washington, D.C. It has been the home of U.S. presidents since 1800s. It also serves as the president's office. The second one is the U.S. Capitol. It houses the Senate and House of Representatives. Built in 1793, it is a symbol of American democracy. Last to discuss are the most famous classical block style architecture. First, the Bibliothèque Saint Geneviève in Paris. It is a historic library designed by Henry Labrouste in 1851. The Boston Public Library is a historic library in Massachusetts with over 23 million items and free programs for everyone.